When we get back to Washington next week, I will be filing legislation along with Olympia Snow of Maine as my original bipartisan co-sponsor to create a National Endowment for the Oceans. The back story, I think, is an obvious one, and it is an historic one. For as long as mankind has existed on the terrestrial portions of this planet, we have used the oceans as an unlimited resources. We have fished from them, we have dumped into them, we have always relied on them as being strong enough, large enough, majestic enough to take essentially anything that we could dish out. But now there are 6 billion of us. We are technologically far more advanced than we ever have been, and the manner in which we strip the ocean of its bounty, the manner in which we pollute the ocean has become so powerful at this point that our very oceans are beginning to show signs of peril. You can go from the far north oceans, where the ice caps are receding, and the local Inuit tribes, as far as the memory and the oral tradition of those tribes go back, they remember there has always been ice out on those waters, and now it isn't there. The fabled Northwest Passage is in fact opening. You go down to the tropical waters and you see our reefs, our coral reefs bleaching and dying, and they are nurseries for other species, for the ocean. You go into the far, far, far Pacific and you see the garbage gyre that collects the plastic from Asia and from the US in a pool of corroded plastic floating out there with who knows what effects. You look at the major pelagic species, which have seen 90% population crashes in the last 40 years, and perhaps most dangerous of all, you look at ocean acidification. You look at the basic chemical pH level of the ocean out there, and you see that it has spiked, that it is the worst it has been in terms of acidification in 8,000 centuries. And we don't know what the effects are of that. It is likely to continue for some time before it can be moderated by lessening our carbon pollution. But the combination of all those signals should make alert and intelligent people very concerned about how much our ocean can take. And so the purpose of this legislation, we will obviously continue to fish and enjoy the bounty of our oceans. We will inevitably continue to dump waste deliberately or accidentally into our oceans. We will continue to put pressure on our oceans. But what we can change in this legislation is that for the first time we will actually be giving back to the oceans. We will be not just takers, but also caretakers, also stewards of our oceans. And this is important for Rhode Island as the ocean state. This is important for Rhode Island as the home of the Graduate School of Oceanography. This will be science-based funding. And so institutions like URI that have wonderful programs in marine science will get considerable advantage from the funding that flows through to them. And of course, our economy hinges on Narragansett Bay and Rhode Island Sound and the beauty that it creates, whether it's beachgoers or sailors or motorboaters or people who come just to be near the ocean. It is a very important part of our Rhode Island life, and so the Rhode Island Marine Trade Association obviously is keenly aware of this and sees those benefits every day. So we begin next week a process that is always arduous in Washington, but there are signs around this bill that it's in a relatively good position. I believe we can tag it as responding to the terrible gusher that continues to geyser oil into the Gulf of Mexico, and that makes it topical, which is important from a legislative point of view. It is bipartisan, thanks to the active and wonderful participation of Olympia Snow, and because of the way the funding sources are designed, it does not create a need for new taxes, new revenues, and it is therefore CBO neutral. So a lot of good signals about it, and we hope very much that we can work rapidly forward to put it into effect and to begin, as I said, to become not just takers, but caretakers of our oceans. Jonathan, thank you very much.